Right. For those who are not familiar with who we are Prosper Canada, founded in 1986, and we're a national charity, and we're dedicated to expanding economic opportunity for Canadians living in poverty, and we do this through program and policy innovation. As Canada's leading national champion of financial empowerment, we work with government, we work with businesses and community partners to develop and promote financial policies, programs, and resources that transform lives and foster the prosperity of all Canadians. We help service systems and organizations in all sectors to build financial empowerment approaches into their businesses in ways that are sustainable. We want to help them achieve their goals and to tangibly increase the financial well-being of the low-income people they serve. So that's just a little bit about us. So today I would like to begin with a land acknowledgement. We begin by acknowledging that we are joining you from Toronto, which is situated upon traditional territories. The territories include the Wendat, the Anishtabek Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and the Métis Nation. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, the Mississaugas, and the Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. Today, the meeting place of Toronto is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we're grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community on this territory. Since we have people joining us from all across Canada today, we really encourage you to make your own acknowledgements in the chat if you're calling in from other areas. So please feel free to share that. Okay. So again, my name is Jenny Bolton, and I'm going to be your facilitator for this session. And again, we have Sharmeen Beg, who's going to be providing us with technical support today. So before we get started, it's a great opportunity to get to know each other. So in the chat, if you could please share with us your name and the organization that you work for. And then in a moment, we'll jump to using the Mentimeter as well and find out a little bit more about the communities you serve. But first, let's take a look at the chat and see who we have with us today. I'm gonna go take a look here. Hey, I know Keys. I lived in Kingston for a while. I remember I remember Keys very well. March of Dimes, welcome. Some from Stone Plain Community Social Development. Welcome, Dixie Bloor. Oh, I'm familiar with you guys as well. We've got people from Saskatoon. Oh, it's flying in here. Calgary. I see Momentum, one of our people that we work with closely, partners. People from Calgary, London. Wow, everybody's here. Okay, Alberta, Wood Green. We know Wood Green. Fantastic. It's really great to have all of you joining us today, and it's a great opportunity just to share. Sometimes we get quite interactive chats, and we share some ideas and resources together. So we really encourage you to stay engaged and to share today. We look forward to doing that together. All right, fantastic. See a few more coming in there. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to switch to Mentimeter now. So what I'd like you to do is if you can see the QR code that's at the top of the screen, all right, you can use that code and just scan it in, and you can use your phone to do that. And that's going to take you to Mentimeter, which I'm going to switch to in a moment. And then what we're going to do is find out which populations you serve. So just give me a moment, and I'm going to share my screen. All right. Can you see it? You see Mentimeter? Fantastic. Okay, so let's see what populations you serve. We'll get a sense of, and you can select more than one, so feel free to select all of those that you serve, and we'll just get a sense. So children and youth, families with children. If anybody has difficulty using Mentimeter, please let us know. Another way of accessing it is joining by going to menti.com, and then you can use the code that you see at the top there, 5298 5743. Okay, so let me see here. It keeps moving. People with disabilities, working with seniors, Got lots of people working with newcomers and families, which is great. Okay, what else have we got here? It's got to be lots more. All right. Fantastic. And other. Okay, if you have selected other and want to share who you're working with in the chat, that's great too. Lots of people working with people who are unemployed as well. And yeah, if you can't get Mentimeter to work, don't worry. Just add it in the chat as well, and we'll take a look there too. Wonderful. Okay, that just gives me a sense of who we're working with in our communities. And fantastic. Good. Okay. You can keep those coming. That's okay. I'm going to just stop sharing this and jump back to our presentation. All right. So thank you for sharing all of that. It's just, as I said, a great opportunity to get to see the communities that we're serving today. All right. So let's take a look at what we're going to be doing today. Um, The purpose of today is to learn and practice the skills to support Canadians living on a low income to access benefits. So the emphasis is on practice. We really want to get you involved today and trying out the Benefits Wayfinder. But this starts with understanding your roles. We want to explore your role in providing support. It also includes important skills like knowing how to start the conversation about benefits. So we're going to review some of the tips for using the Benefits Wayfinder, and then we're going to give you time to explore the tool using some personas. And then finally, we're going to provide you with some additional resources and training that's available to you. So these topics, along with more details on financial literacy, financial conversations, and how to use the Benefits Wayfinder, are also available on our online course that's called Foundations of Access to Benefits. So if you've not taken this training and you're interested, we'll provide more information on this, along with some of the other resources at the end of the workshop. So we have about 1.5 hours together today, so let's get started. Before I do, if anybody has any questions, please add them in the chat, and Charmaine will be there to help address them. All right, are we good to go, Charmaine? Any questions? Everybody doing okay? Fantastic. Good. All right. So here's what you can expect from today's workshop. So we're going to be using a variety of different learning formats to give you a chance to engage with the content. So some of the activities are going to be completed together in our larger group, just like we did with our Mentimeter. Some of them will also be done as individuals. So you're going to have time to practice navigating the Benefits Wayfinder, and you'll get to experiment how you can integrate it into money conversations. I also encourage you to reflect on your own personal experiences with money as we do this today. So the personas, the discussions, and the practice activities really come to life when we're able to incorporate our own personal experiences. So because of this, we want the session to be safe, inclusive, and fun. So please treat our time together with respect. Okay, again, any questions, just please add them to the chat. All right, one important thing before we move on. So let's approach the content in today's workshop knowing that the experiences, the values, and the emotions around money differ widely from person to person. Okay, money is a very sensitive topic, and in many cultures and workplaces, families, all of these things, it's just something that people aren't always comfortable talking about. So we want to remember this as we work together today, and also when we work with individuals in our community. So we're going to start by exploring your role in helping the individuals that you work with to access the benefits that they're entitled to, but potentially not receiving. So let's just reflect a little bit. Why does this matter? Why does access to benefits support matter? I want you to just take a moment and think about why access to benefit matters. So in our own lives, what impact does benefits have? So if you have a child with a disability, for example, or you're caring for an aging parent, or you're saving for a child's education, or even having difficulty paying for your bills, we know that benefits matter, right? Now think about someone living on a very low income. So what impact can benefits have on an individual or family living on a low income? So I'm going to jump back to Mentimeter in just a minute. If you want to, I'm going to advance our Mentimeter here. Just a minute. And what I'd like you to do, if you can again go back to Mentimeter, I'll share my screen in just a moment. And we're going to do a word cloud. can see it here. And if you can share what impact that access to benefits have on the clients that you serve. And I want you to think not just that maybe they're going to have, of course, some more money. Yeah, you got it. Things like shelter, having more money is going to help them have more financial security, more confidence. These are great. Keep them coming. This is exactly what we're looking for, right? It really has such an important impact. It makes such a difference in people's lives, in their stress level, in their well-being. Oh my gosh, right? Proper nutrition, financial security, empowerment, more independence, peace of mind. These are great. These are great. Freedom, right? Support, stability, give some opportunity, right? And you can repay those debts, general well-being. These are all fantastic. Really, really great. Thank you so much for sharing. Proper nutrition, stress-free life. Yes. More education, health. The impact on health is huge, right? Just the sense of relief, our mental health, all of these things. Wonderful, wonderful. We'll keep this as a memento as well. These great answers. So thank you so much for sharing. All right, I'm going to jump back to our presentation. But thank you. It's just great to see that you've got a really great sense of the impact that it has. Oh, it didn't allow me to resume. I think you're seeing the first slide. Sorry, just a moment. All right. Can you see the proper slide, Charmaine? We're good? All right. Fantastic. Okay. So let's highlight some of the most important aspects of access to benefits. So individuals who receive benefit navigation support are more likely to be able to access all the benefits that they're eligible for. So by increasing an individual's access to benefits, it's going to play a really key role in helping them to increase their income, right? And receiving benefits can improve on an individual's financial well-being and empower them to take control of their financial situation. Also, increased benefits can improve their overall quality of life. So we know this because the stresses of living in poverty can have a really big impact on all areas of our life. So I think you guys have a really great handle on why access to benefits matters. So let's dig a little bit deeper and talk about how you as a frontline staff can support individuals to access benefits. So we know that access to benefits is a very vital support and a vital part of poverty reduction, right? So if we integrate access to benefits into existing programs such as social assistance, employment, housing, healthcare, and settlement, the outcomes of these programs are going to be improved. So as a frontline worker, if you're working on the front line, there's 3 elements to supporting individuals with accessing benefits. The first is to identify an individual's eligibility for benefits. So many people living on a low income are not even aware that there are benefits that they could be receiving. Others might know about benefits, but they don't believe they're eligible. And so to identify eligibility, you can ask an individual if they've heard about certain benefits, or you can use the benefits Wayfinder to identify potential benefits that they're eligible for. The second step to supporting individuals is to guide them through the application process. So although the process must be led by the individual, you can help support them. You can do this by helping to make an action plan with them, maybe creating to-do lists for their application, helping to keep them on track with check-in meetings, or helping with practical needs such as completing the applications, navigating online tools, and even just printing or mailing out the benefit applications, right? Sometimes doing that for them can make all the difference. Lastly, you can support an individual to access benefits by referring them to additional support as required. So you know what? You're not required to have all the answers, right? We all have our areas of specialty and our expertise. So if it's not something that you're comfortable with, it's totally okay and really important to refer individuals to other resources if their needs go beyond your comfort level or knowledge. Okay, so in these cases, it's really important to have a list of trustworthy organizations and resources to refer to. In this webinar, we're going to focus on the first element, so determining a participant's eligibility and getting started on their benefits application journey. Okay, all right, before we really dive in, does anyone have any questions? I'll just pause for a moment. Any questions in the chat, Charmaine, that need to be addressed? All right, good to go. For those of you that do not work in a role that provides direct financial assistance to participants, you might be wondering how can you introduce access to benefits to the people you work with. Well, we'll try to cover that as well. I know not everybody might be on the front line, so we'll talk a little bit about how to get the conversation started. Okay, so let's begin. So first, there's one thing I want to recognize is that there are many barriers facing the communities that we work with, right? So people living on a low income have often also experienced some form of financial or other trauma, and this can lead to additional barriers to accessing benefit information and support. So a trauma-informed approach recognizes the impact that trauma can have on vulnerable individuals. It aims to empower them by creating conditions of emotional and personal safety. So we're going to take a trauma-informed approach, and we're going to follow these 5 principles. So most of you are probably familiar with this. It'll just be a little bit of a review. So first, it's important to create a physically and emotionally safe environment. So one way to do this is to make sure that you hold conversations in a private area. The second principle is to support autonomy and choice. So for example, by ensuring the individual knows that they're in control of all decisions in the benefits process. The third principle is to create collaborative relationships where the individual has a significant role in how the process unfolds. So, for example, the individual chooses how and when to search and apply for benefits, while you can support and provide the tools and help support their actions. Next is to establish trust and boundaries. So one way you can do this is by reassuring the individual that their information will be kept confidential. Another is reminding them that they can stop the meeting or benefits application process at any time if they choose. And finally, it's really important to use a strength-based and empowerment-focused approach. So acknowledging and validating participants' feelings, experiences, values, and decisions is key. Okay, so any questions, just please add them to the chat. But this is really important to keep in mind. Okay. So keeping this trauma-informed approach in mind, let's look at how to start the benefits conversation. So the first step is to determine whether a benefits conversation would be useful for a community member. And we use 3 screening questions to help. And here they are. The first one is, have you filed your taxes for the past 5 years? Because we know that taxes is often a big gateway to benefits. The second one is, have you recently experienced or are you coming up to a big life change? So this might be something like, are they having a child? Are they losing their job? Or are they retiring? And the third is, do you have enough money to make ends meet? So a participant's responses to these screening questions will indicate whether using the benefits wayfinder and exploring benefits would be worthwhile. So for example, question 1, if they've not filed their taxes, there may be benefits that they're missing out on and might not even know about. For question 2, if they're coming up to a big life change, so for example, having a baby, there might be benefits that they're suddenly eligible for that they weren't before. And finally, question 3, if they do not have enough money to make ends meet, there are definitely benefits that they probably qualify for, right? If they're having difficulty, let's see if we can get some more money into the household. On the other hand, if they've filed their taxes and they aren't experiencing a life change and they have enough money to make ends meet, it's much less likely that they're going to find helpful benefits while using this tool. But in that case, you can just, you can offer a benefits checkup. So let's still make sure that they're receiving everything they can. All right, so next, let's talk about how we can use these screening questions in a conversation. So while every situation and every individual is unique, there are 3 common conversation pathways to introduce and discuss access to benefits. So the first one generally takes place on the job. So you're in a public situation when you're having a discussion with a community member who's seeking support because they're in a financially vulnerable situation. So for example, you might be working at a food bank and you're doing some screening questions, or you're providing formula to a new mom, providing employment and training supports to a newcomer. You're in conversation with someone at a drop-in center. All of these situations, the person did not come prepared for a financial conversation. The second pathway takes place during a private one-on-one scheduled money conversation. And the third one takes place in a related field. So for example, you might be in healthcare or speaking with a person who's incarcerated or providing housing services. So you are in a one-on-one private meeting, But again, the person did not come for the purpose of discussing money. All right, so again, I want to hear from you. We're going to move to the next question on our Mentimeter, and we're going to see which pathway you would most likely find yourself interacting in with your community members. So I'm going to share my screen once again, and you can jump onto Mentimeter, and you can share whether it's public and on the job, if it's in a one-on-one money conversation, or if it's in a one-on-one meeting, but in a related field. So let's wait a moment here and see how people answer. We probably have some in the chat as well. I'm going to go take a look at our chat. We've got one-on-one. Right. I'm looking up here. So many of you are in a one-on-one money conversation already. Okay, interesting. Lots of one-on-one talking about money. Okay, so that's great. Good to know. But we've got lots of them that are in a related field, and that's really interesting too, right? Because you've got this opportunity, and you might be serving them in a different way, but you're still in that one-on-one, and it's a great opportunity to introduce the conversation. All right, fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, I'm going to stop sharing and come back to our presentation. There we go. Okay, so let's dig in a little bit and go through each one of these pathways. All right, so pathway one is a public on the job. You're in a public place, and so you need to be really sensitive and you need to respect the person's privacy. So you're going to want to ask closed questions and leave more detailed discussions to a one-on-one meeting. So you might want to open the conversation with things like, I'd like to ask a few questions to identify other ways we might be able to help. Would you be willing to answer a few questions? And if they're willing, you can then ask the screening questions, which again, if you recall, are, have you filed your taxes for the past 5 years? Have you recently experienced, or are you coming up to a big life change? Or do you have enough money to make ends meet? Okay. And if appropriate, you can ask if they would be interested in exploring benefits. And if willing, you might want to set up a more private one-on-one meeting. Okay, so here are some additional closed-ended questions that you could potentially ask. So one would be, would you be interested in exploring whether you might be eligible for any benefits to help increase your income? Did you know that there are benefits that may be able to help? Have you explored the possibility of getting some benefits to increase your income? If not, would you like some support in exploring that? Or I know about some resources that might help you find out if you would be receiving benefits. Would you be interested in learning about that? Okay, so, all right, I'm going to move to some tips for pathway two. So you're already talking about finances and you're already in a private one-on-one meeting. So you can ask the screening questions as part of the broader financial conversation. You can consider more open-ended questions about improving their financial situation and increasing their income. And then if a participant identifies a need for increased income, you can ask if they're interested in checking for benefits. And then finally, you can proceed based on the participant's interests. So the benefit here is that you're already in a one-on-one money conversation, so it's a little bit easier to jump into talking about benefits. All right, so here's some examples, some of the types of questions you could ask. What are some things that could possibly help your financial situation right now? Have you considered any ways to increase your income? What ideas do you have about improving your financial situation? And what steps have you already taken to improve your financial situation or increase your income? Okay. And now I'm going to move on to pathway three. So in this pathway, you're working in a related field. So maybe settlement or healthcare, and you're in a one-on-one meeting. So it is private. So you can ask the open-ended questions to identify the individual stressors. You can see if there's a need for increased income and share that there may be benefits that can help. If interested, you can ask those screening questions about filing taxes, about recently experiencing a life change, and whether or not they have enough money to make ends meet. Okay, and then if it makes sense to explore further, then you might want to set up a dedicated meeting to explore access to benefits together. Okay. All right, so here's a couple examples of the types of questions that you could ask in Pathway 3. So what's causing you the most stress right now? What are you the most worried about? Right? What are some of your short-term money goals? Okay, so those are some of the things that you can ask. So for all pathways, here's just a couple of tips. What's really important is that you set realistic expectations. You don't want to say things like, you will probably be eligible for, right? Because you don't want to raise their expectations. So to be productive, the process must be led by the individual. So you can get the conversation started about access to benefits. And if that person indicates they're interested, then you can continue. Remember, your role is to support the process, right? So you're never going to be directly advising or pressuring an individual to consider benefits. We want to remember that trauma-informed approach, and we want to make sure that we're really respectful of how that person's feeling. Okay. Any questions before we move on? Any questions in the chat, Charmine? Are we doing okay? Awesome. Okay, great. So pretty soon we're going to put you to work. All right. So for those of you who have taken the online course, or maybe you've participated in a public demo before, you might already be a little bit familiar with the Benefits Wayfinder. So we're going to take some time to demonstrate the different ways that it can be used in money conversations, but I'm not going to do as in-depth a demo as you might receive in a full public demo. If you want further detail on how to use the tool, we do have previously recorded webinars that go into great detail, and you can find those on the Learning Hub. We'll provide you the links to that at the end today. So let's talk a little bit about the Benefits Wayfinder. All right, so it's a tool that helps individuals identify and apply for the benefits that they're eligible for. And how does it work? Well, it provides a list of personalized benefits an individual may be eligible for based on their circumstances. So users can view a particular benefit's eligibility, they can look at the ID requirements, there's information on the application process, and then they can organize all of these on what's called a dashboard. All right. So for those who are most likely to discover new benefits within the Benefits Wayfinder, they're probably living on a low income. They may be newcomers to Canada. They might be approaching or experiencing that major life event. We talked about those types of changes, maybe retiring or having a baby. Those who have never filed their taxes before are most likely to find some benefits that they're eligible for, and those who are not receiving any of the common starting benefits. So those are the ones that are going to most benefit from using the tool. Okay, so in just a moment, I'm going to provide you a walkthrough of how to use the various features of the Benefits Wayfinder, and then you're going to have a chance to navigate on your own after the demonstration. If you want, we have a video about the Benefits Wayfinder and how to navigate it, and it's available in our shared resources. So if you want to use that as a reference after, we also have a Benefits Wayfinder support guide as well. Please ask any questions that you may have in the chat as we go through this demonstration. Please note we're not benefit experts. So Shameen and I are both quite proficient at the tool, but there's a lot to know about benefits. So sometimes though, what I find is sometimes in the chat, people put in questions and we might have some benefit experts in the audience that help to answer those questions. So you can still sort of put them out there, but just know you might not get the answer on that today. So we're going to look at the Benefits Wayfinder tool, and in just a moment, I'm going to switch screens. And again, before I do though, if you have any specific questions, just add them to the chat, okay? And either ourselves or someone else might be able to answer them. And if we can't, we'll seek out the answer afterwards. All right, let's try this. All right, we see the tool? Great. I'm looking for that thumbs up. Thanks, Shameen. All right, so this is the home page of the Benefits Wayfinder. I'm in Ontario, so I'll select Ontario, but as you can see, you can select whichever province you're in. You can also select it up here at the top right corner. Okay, so as you can see at the top, there are a couple of ways that you can access the information. We have starting points, we have a questionnaire, and we have browse all benefits. We're going to focus on the first two today, which is the starting points and the questionnaire, and then you're going to have a chance to explore them using some personas. So I'm going to start with the questionnaire that has 13 questions that you can go through with a client, or they can do it on their own. Okay, but before I complete it with you, I'm going to click on it here. Before I complete it with you, I just want you to know a few important things. Okay, the information that we input is not stored. Okay, so often people are not comfortable sharing personal information online, right? So if that's the case, if they're really not comfortable filling out the application, or sorry, the questionnaire, you can also just explore using starting points, which I'll show you in just a moment, right? You also don't have to answer every question. Okay, so there is the ability to skip questions, but the more questions that they answer, the more specific benefit recommendations they're going to receive. So if you answer more questions, the benefits are not going to be removed from your dashboard, only added. Also letting you know that you can move back and forth. So if you made an error, you go, oh, I should have answered it that way, you can go back and change your answer. And you also have the opportunity to review everything before you submit. Okay. A lot of times people work with one of their clients as they go through this, so you can kind of work together through it, and, just help them along, or if they're more comfortable, they can do it on their own. Okay, whatever works. All right. Um, the one other thing I want to note is that if the person is experiencing a life change, you should enter the information as if they're already experiencing it, right? So as if they already have the child, or as if they've already retired, and this will give the most accurate suggestions. Okay, let's just do the questionnaire together and see what happens. So are you up to date on filing your taxes? Let's say no. How old are you? I'm just going to randomly select some today and see what happens. I'm going to be a permanent or legal resident. I'm looking for work because I lost my job. My income, we'll do a low income since we are often working with individuals on a low income. I have 3 people in my household. Sorry, I'm probably going too fast. I'll slow down. Do you care for any children under the age of 18? I'm going to say yes. Are you or is anyone in your household living with a disability? I'm going to say yes. Where do you live? I am renting. Are you pregnant or expecting a child? I say no. The length of stay in Canada since age 18. Are you, your parent, or your spouse a Canadian veteran? Do you have a parent or spouse who had lived in Canada and passed away? I'm going to say no. And there we go. I know I kind of went through them quickly, but as you get the opportunity, you'll get to go through them more slowly when you practice with your persona. But I just wanted to show you how the questionnaire worked. I just saw a question. Is any type of disability, where did it go? Do you want to read it for me, Shermeen?
Absolutely. Is it
Thank you.
any type of disability or just a physical disability?
It could be any type of disability. Yes. Yes. Good question. Thank you. Yeah. So then I can go through this, and as you can see, I can edit it if I've made a mistake. Okay. Or again, if I want to change it because maybe it's not really describing my circumstance. Because again, if it's something that's going to be changing in the future, I might want to answer it as if that future is already here. So I'm going to scroll all the way down. I'm comfortable with everything, and I'm going to submit. And when I do that, I suddenly get a recommendation list. Okay, this was a lot. I don't always get 41. Sometimes it's a lot lower, but in this case, the way I've filled out the application, it's identified 41 potential benefits. And then if I click, I can go to what's called the dashboard. Okay, so you might get a little note here too. It could be just about different situations, so you can read that. And let's take a look at the dashboard. Okay, so you still need to go through them in depth. It really is just a recommendation. You still have to dig a little bit deeper, but I'll show you some of the things that you can do. There are some sub lists that can help you view different benefits. So things that maybe that you're already receiving, you can tag those, or you can remove some of the benefits, but you can always undo that as well. So let's take a look. So here's a list. I can sort them by priority, alphabetically. Maybe I don't file my taxes and I don't want to apply for anything right now that requires me to file my taxes. So I can do all of the benefits that do not require tax filing, or I can get all the ones that I can get if I file my taxes. So there's lots of different ways to filter and play with the list on your dashboard. I can mark them as seen. So if I've already looked at them, I'm not interested in them, but they'll bump up to the list and I can take a look at them later if I really want to. I can add them to benefits I'm already receiving. Okay, I can remove them from the list. I can prioritize them. Oh, this is one I'm really interested in. I'm going to make it high priority. Okay, and then that'll bump it to the top. So there's lots of things that you can do once you get onto the dashboard to kind of just make it easier for you to navigate. Okay. All right. The other thing I want you to note is they tell you a little bit about the type of application. So in this one, it's a complex application. So some of them will say it's an easy application. Some of them will say complex. They'll let you know whether or not you need to file your taxes and apply separately. And they'll also identify whether or not identification is required. Okay. Every single one of them also has a link. And if I click on this link, it will take me, it will open up for me. No, it didn't do that since you can't see it, unfortunately. Sorry. It will open up for you the actual link to the government website as well. Okay, so all of the information is there. Okay, a couple of other things to note up at the top here. You can save your session. So remember I said it doesn't save automatically, but you can save it. And when you do that, you can email it to yourself or to the person that you're working with. You can email it to more than one person just by putting a semicolon in between the emails, okay? You can copy the URL so that you can get that information later as well, okay? But if someone's not comfortable with digital or email, okay, you can print out a PDF for them and send them home with that. And then at the end, you want to clear your session so that you can start working with someone else. Okay, so that's a little bit about how the questionnaire works. Again, if there's any questions about the questionnaire in the chat. Okay, fantastic. A little bit later, I will also share with you about the help section. We do have a help section and we also have an agency portal, but I'll do that at the end. Okay, so the other way of navigating is starting points. Okay, so starting points are filters that can be used to narrow down results for those with specific or immediate needs. Okay, so you could ask questions to the person that you're working with to see if they're part of a special group, or you might know that already, right? Maybe you're a newcomer organization. So you're going to take a look at all of the benefits that newcomers or immigrants might be eligible for. But of course, a participant might be part of numerous groups, okay? It could also be a senior, okay? So I could take a look at some of the benefits for a senior or a retired person as well, all right? So yeah, you can play around and look at those, and the same kind of thing, you can tag them as whether you're interested or whether you're already receiving them, okay? And it has all the same kinds of information, right? Whether or not tax filing is required, and also you can click to take a look at the actual government website as well. What's important to know is that, many people might be missing out on benefits just because they don't realize that they're eligible, right? And this can be especially with things like some of the disability benefits, right? So they might have a health condition that impacts their daily life and don't think that they qualify. So today we don't cover it, but there's also a lot of information and it's linked to the Benefits Wayfinder around the Disability Benefits Compass. I will have a bit of time at the end and I'll share that link with you. So if you want to dig a little bit deeper into some of the disability benefits, we have a great tool for that as well. Okay. All right. Okay, the third way, I'm going to go back up to the top here, is just to browse all benefits. All right. Actually, a lot of frontline workers use this to just very quickly find information on a particular benefit. Or a lot of organizations tell us they use this to help train their staff to understand the ins and outs of some of the common benefits that their clients are eligible for. So you can use it in that way as well. But in this way, it's just you can simply browse, but we still have some ability to filter. But if you know what benefit you're looking for, you could simply type that name in, okay? Or you can use this column on the left-hand side. So maybe I don't need to look at any federal benefits today. I just want to take a look at those that are in Ontario, and I want to take a look at the ones that don't need tax filing. So for example, it will provide all of those for me very simply. All right. So again, you want to maybe consider what's most important to the person you're working with. Maybe they only want the easy ones. They're not wanting to go through a difficult application process. Maybe they're looking for things around health. Again, you can just filter them and it will help to tailor that list a little bit. Okay, and that's especially useful for those that maybe aren't comfortable sharing their information in a questionnaire. Same with the starting points. If they're not comfortable with the questionnaire, then, maybe just starting with, you're new to Canada, you're an Indigenous person, whatever it is, and it can help to find benefits that are relevant to their situation. All right, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to go back to our presentation. All right, and it's going to be your turn. So now that we've learned how to start the conversation about benefits, okay, so we reviewed some of those key questions that you can ask. We've talked about the different pathways, and I've just showed you how to navigate the tool very briefly. There's certainly lots more that you can explore as well, but it's your turn to practice. So for this activity, you're going to practice using the Benefits Wayfinder to find benefits that your clients might be eligible for based on their personal circumstances. This is a really informal activity, so I encourage you to do it in a way that works best for you, okay? And it just allows you to practice it in a safe environment. I encourage you to maybe create your own persona if you'd like. So if the persona that we provide to you in just a moment is not reflective of the client group that you are serving, feel free to just create your own. I mean, I'm sure you've got some characteristics in your own mind of people that you work with on a daily basis, and you can just use the tool and see what kinds of benefits they might be eligible for. All right. So let's review the first persona. In just a moment, Sharmeen will provide this to you in the chat, and I will keep the slide up so that you can see some of the basics as well. So we have Sergio. Sergio is 33 years old. He is a newcomer to Canada, temporary resident. He lives in Fergus, Ontario, and he is renting his home. His income level is $40,000 per year, and he works full-time as a chef. He has not filed Canadian taxes before. All right, so when you view the handout that we're going to put in the chat, you can see some other detail about Sergio, maybe some of his things he wants to save for example. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're also going to put the link to the Benefits Wayfinder into the chat. And on your own, you're going to search for benefits for Sergio using the questionnaire. Okay, so I want you to use the questionnaire in this situation. And in the next activity, we'll try the starting points. So remember, you'll see at the top, okay, just when you get into the Benefits Wayfinder, you're going to click on questionnaire. All right, and you're going to move through the questionnaire as if you were Sergio. Okay, so you're going to open your browser to benefitswayfinder.org. So get ready to use the tool. Take a look at the persona. I'll put the other slide back so you can see it on the screen. And then you're going to take 5 or so minutes to use the Benefits Wayfinder and see what benefits Sergio is eligible for. Okay, and then what's going to happen is we're going to come back as a group, and I'm going to put the Mentimeter back on the screen, and you're going to share with me 1 or 2 of the benefits that you found that Sergio was eligible for. We'll use the Mentimeter again. Okay, any questions before we say go? Let me just put them in the chat. All right. All right then. Everybody ready to go? They've got what they need. Yes, Shermeen, everything's in the chat, right? They've got the link and they can log on. So I'm going to turn my camera off for a little bit. I'm going to give you like about 5 to 7 minutes to maybe I think we're doing pretty well for time. I might be able to give you a little bit more. I'll probably give you about 10 minutes and just take some time, explore the benefits of Wayfinder, have some fun with it, and use it as if you were Sergio, or select your own persona, somebody that you would work with in your community, and see what you can find. Okay, so it's 1:48. We'll come back together just before 2 o'clock. Good luck. I'll leave that on the screen for you, if that's helpful. Just checking in to see how everybody's doing. If you have any questions, let me know. If you were super fast and were able to quickly identify all of Sergio's, feel free to just keep playing. This is your opportunity to explore and yeah, try it. Try a different scenario if you'd like, or persona. And we're going to join back together again in just a few minutes. In just a moment, I'm going to share the Mentimeter, and those that are finished with Sergio can start to populate our Mentimeter. Here we go. We'll get a sense of all the things that Sergio is eligible for. So it's great. And you can also put them in the chat. That works too. CWB, yeah. We've got all kinds of them in there. Dental care, child care, climate action. So great. Keep them coming. Good job. Okay. We have any more to add? It looks like we've got a pretty good list there. There's probably a few more. And as I said, some resettlement assistance program. Some of them are in the chat, so I'm reading those out as well. Canada Workers Benefit, Canada Learning Bond Income, GST. Oh, we're getting some more up on the Mentimeter there. Climate action initiatives, carbon tax, good. Good. Energy assistance, good. Great. So we're getting a really good sense of how hopefully the questionnaire works and how it can help to identify some of the benefits that Sergio is eligible for. All right. I'll give it one more minute here, and then I'm going to share our next persona. Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. We've got another one for you. In this situation, we're going to use starting points to see what benefits we can find for Rabia. So let's review the persona together before we get started. In this situation, we have Rabia, who's 19. She is a citizen of Canada. But in this situation, I said any town Canada, which means I want you to pick maybe the province that you reside in. And remember, you can go to the top right corner. There's that little drop down, and you can change the province. So if you're currently in Ontario, because you were searching for Sergio, you may want to change the province. Her income level is $23,000 per year, and she works part-time as a server. and she's only been eligible for 1 year but did not file her tax. Again, Shireen has probably already shared the handout in the chat. And I also encourage you to use your own persona if you'd like, but this is just an opportunity for you to see how starting points work versus questionnaire. And then I'd love you at the end to let me know which one you prefer. Okay, so I'll give you a few moments. This one probably won't take too long. We'll take 4 or 5 minutes the most, and go play around, have some fun, and see what you can find for Rabia. Yeah, so you'll find starting points just beside questionnaire on the main page. And again, see if you can find those benefits. I'm going to share my screen and put the Mentimeter up so that as you find benefits that Rabia is eligible for, you can add them. So stay tuned. There we go. Oh, it's great to see we have some who've changed the benefits to Alberta. That's great. And we've still some from Ontario. Fantastic. And there's some coming in the chat as well. Let me take a look at the chat. So EI, GST, Alberta Child and Family Benefit, Ontario Works, the Ontario Drug Benefit, Better Jobs Ontario, Affordable Housing Benefit. Fantastic. These are great. The Rental Supplement Program. Wonderful. Good. And hopefully you're taking some time to explore a little bit the types of details that you see. Um, I should have shown you, like when you click on some of the accordions, you can see the eligibility, the types of ID that is required. There's lots of information. Some of the feedback we get, that people find it most useful because it just brings everything all into one place. You're not having to search all over the internet for all of the different benefits. It brings it all into one place, very easy to read, plain language. So I hope that you're experiencing that and seeing that it's very easy to use. Okay, great. I'm going to stop sharing once again. Back to our presentation. All right. All right. So I hope that everybody found starting points very useful as well. And thank you for sharing uh, all of the things that you found. I'm curious. I often do this with Mentimeter, but why don't we just do it in the chat? I'm curious which one you liked best. Could you share in the chat whether you preferred using the questionnaire or the starting points, or which one you feel you would probably use most with clients? So I'm going to take a look at our chat and see what you have to say. Hey, Ali, I'm glad you like it. You said it's a great tool. That's fantastic. Yeah, let's see. So starting point. Okay. Hey, Sharon, how are you? All right. I preferred the questionnaire. I guess it can kind of depend on the type of situation you're in, right? So, if you're working with someone that you really have the time to dive in with someone, then the questionnaire probably has some pros, but the starting points might be an easier and faster way. Who knows? Everybody's going to have their preference. I'm just curious what you think. So lots of people preferring the questionnaire. Yeah, so Radius said, yeah, that the questionnaire is more broadly useful, but real time, real quick, you can use that starting points for sure. As a frontline service provider, sometimes just, even a quick, hey, I wonder what kinds of things seniors might be eligible for. Boom, just go check it out, right? It's a great tool for just that as well, a resource for yourself. All right, fantastic. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. All right. So now I want to switch gears again and just tell you about some of the other resources that are available to you. I'm going to jump onto these and just highlight them for you briefly. Just a reminder that all of these slides will be shared with you after the session. You'll also get a recording of this. So if some of you arrived late or you want to share it with a colleague, you can do that as well. All right. And, I'm going to jump on. We've got depending on an individual's needs and their situation, of course, sometimes it's in their best interest to refer a client to another organization or a service that can provide more specialized support. So we do have an agency portal, or there's places to get help. So, maybe you want to refer someone to a tax filing clinic, or they need help getting ID, or other community organizations. So maybe they need settlement work, or they need some other help first. So it's a great idea to really build a strong referral network, right? You want to kind of create a group of trusted individuals and organizations who can offer this specialized support if you can. So on the Benefits Wayfinder, there's two great resources to help you find these kinds of referrals, and that's the help and the agency portal. And I'm going to click on those in just a minute and show you them. Fingers crossed that it's going to work. I'm going to have to share my screen. There we go. Can we see the need help here? All right, Good. So here we go. So here, if you're needing help getting benefits, so if they're wanting one-on help support with the applications or maybe with tax filing, these are some organizations that can help. So it gives you the website, a little bit about the organization, a link to their website, a phone number to call them directly. So you can start to build that list of referrals. Again, you want to find the ones in your area. So if you want to find all of the ones in, let's go to British Columbia, for example, we've got some organizations there. Now, if you're an organization that wants to be on this list, let us know. We, of course, would love to grow this list and know about all the organizations across Canada that are there to help people access the benefits. Okay. I mentioned earlier that we also have the Disability Benefits Compass, and there's a nice link here to it, and it just dives in a little bit deeper into how to get help and support if you're applying for disability benefits, which can be a lot more complicated, right? So there's some videos to watch and some instructions. They go over the 4 key disability benefits. So we have some recorded videos, recorded webinars on this on our Learning Hub as well, if you want to learn more about the Disability Benefits Compass, or you can also, of course, request even a demo for your organization if this is a particular group that you work with. Okay, the other one I wanted to show you is the help. Okay. The minute it's not working. Okay, let me go back to. Okay, that one worked. Hold on here. Oh, there we go. That's because I was already in the help. Now we want the agency portal. And then this one, we've got all other kinds of tools and resources. Hey, there's another great resource that I'm particularly happy to share with you because I worked really hard on this one, and it's called Bridge to Benefits. So if you're an organization who's maybe just getting started in this area, so you kind of want to understand how you can start to provide services, this is a tool that you can go to, and it will share with you some of the best practices from some of the organizations that are already doing this work. And it talks about how to help people learn about benefits, apply for benefits, get their benefits, and maintain them. So they kind of divide it into 4 steps. And it has what's called support cards, which describes all of the different kinds of benefit services that are available. So it's more for service providers for you to learn a little bit more. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to highlight as well. And again, we just have so much that that you can access here. If you're building an action plan with your client, we have other kinds of tools and worksheets. There's some key benefits you can download, sort of the most common ones that you can share with clients. We have a new online tool called Making the Most of Your Money that you can share with clients that has some information on benefits as well. There's a lesson on that. And for those going through tough times, we also have a Managing in Tough Times toolkit with lots of resources and information. So we have so much information. We're just sort of highlighting a few of them today, but we really encourage you to take a look at our Learning Hub and take a look at all the different things that we have, as there's just so much that you can share with your clients. So that's those 2 portals as well. All right. Back to my presentation. Guys, I'm making you dizzy back and forth. All right. I mentioned the tip sheet. We also have a support guide that you can download that basically covers a lot of the information that I shared with you today. Okay. All right, I just very briefly highlighted the Bridge to Benefits for you. Okay, so that one, again, as I mentioned, is designed for organizations. So if you're considering access to benefit services or maybe expanding what you have, gives you the tips, gives you all kinds of resources. Okay, and all of these tools are linked to each other. Okay, and if there's something that really interests you and you want a particular demo on this, maybe for your staff or for your association, we can offer those as well. I mentioned the Making the Most of Your Money, which is an online course. We've had lots of great feedback, and we also have Investing with Interest, a really great handbook. There's lots of handbooks on saving, on debt, that you can use with clients as well. So we'll provide all of these links for you in the handout. and they're there for you to take a look at. For the remaining few days of this month, we also have free access to Module 3 of our financial literacy course. So I'm sure many of you have maybe taking it in the past. It's been around for quite a while. So it's our financial literacy for facilitators. It trains you how to deliver financial literacy workshops to your clients, to the people in your community, and you can have a little taste of it and take a look at Module 3 on budgeting if you'd like. And I think Charmaine has shared some information there about it. Awesome. So we're almost done and we're in good time because I always like to make sure I have a little bit of time for questions. So before I wrap up, please take a moment and I'll pause because sometimes it takes a little while to think about what those questions might be. But if you have any questions about what we shared today, please feel free to add them to the chat. You're also welcome to raise your hand and I can unmute you. So if it's easier to have a bit of a discussion, we can do that as well, and we can answer some of those questions. So think about that while I just do a little bit of a summary, and then we're good to open it up to questions. So as we wrap up for today, I just want to quickly review that as frontline workers, you have a really unique opportunity to support people with access to benefits, all right? And remember, you want to assess the setting that you and the individual are in, and then consider using one of the conversation pathways that we talked about to bring up the topic of benefits and to look for opportunities to ask those 3 screening questions, right? And finally, the Benefits Wayfinder can be used in different ways to identify and organize benefits an individual may be eligible for, depending on what they're most comfortable sharing or using. Okay, so we just want to thank you so much for joining us today and attending this workshop. We really hope you enjoyed it. And we would love it if you would take a moment to provide your feedback. We're always open to feedback, always wanting to make things better and improve things for you. So that I know we've provided a survey link in the chat. We really encourage you to fill that out. And I just wanted to acknowledge that the Benefits Wayfinder was developed by Prosper Canada, but was sponsored by TD Bank Group and supported by Maple Leaf Center for Action on Food Security. So I'm going to stay here and we're going to answer some questions. And if you don't have any questions or you need to run, we understand. We thank you and appreciate your time and all your contributions today. And I hope that we see you again soon. We do this on a quarterly basis. So please share this with others in your organization. We'd love to have them join us in November. And we hope that you enjoy this day. But I'm going to take a look at my chat now and see if we have any questions, or if you want to raise your hand, happy to have you chat as well. All right. We've got all of the links there for you. She's put them in the chat too. Okay. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you to Charmaine for being the best tech support ever. I always know she's got my back. Oh, well, somebody's going to try this with their participant tomorrow. Yay, that makes me so happy. That's fantastic. Thank you. That's really great. But if there's no questions, that's okay too. But I'll stay on for a little while and be happy to answer them if you've got them. And thank you for those that are taking the time to fill out the survey. We really appreciate that. All right, I'll just give it a couple more minutes. We'll stay on here till 2:20. A couple more minutes. If anybody has questions, we'll answer them. And if not, I wish you all the very best. I hope you have a wonderful day. All right, thanks, everybody. We'll close it up. Take care.